Well, I'm on record as saying that Johnnie Walker is my sort of go-to whiskey. Although there are others where I get mates' rates, so and I'm afraid I'm a bit mean because I wait for it to come down from Sainsbury's. It hovers from 30 quid to 23 or something, and I wait for the 23. I love Johnnie Walker Black Label. It is astonishingly consistent, you know. And I mean, you touched on that when we were talking about Blue Label, but to generate just such volume, you know. But of course, as you mentioned, Diageo have these vast stocks, and so they can rely on the fact that they can anticipate what the demand's likely to be in every market of the world, and to retain the consistency. Now, Double Black, which I have tasted but not a lot, was introduced. I think it was introduced for duty free originally. I'm not sure. It might have been. Right. And what exactly it means? You were saying, Laurie, that you think it's probably beefed up the smoky elements.
Yeah, it's basically a smokier version of Double Black, and
Black
Label. Black Label, yeah. And you know, the smoky elements of Black Label, you know, we're going to assume is going to be Kalila, maybe a touch of Talisker in there. So I assume the recipe of Double Black is just going to to be a bit heavier.
Well, I've never tasted the two side by side, and it would be very interesting to
Ross, are these whiskies that you're kind of familiar with?
Black Label is something I always have in my flat. Okay. I can have it, you know, I love it in a highball. Yeah. I love it neat. It's not a whiskey I take all that too seriously because I know it's consistent, as Charlie said, and I know I enjoy it. Yeah. Double Black.
You don't have to think about it.
No,
that's
actually what I love about it. Yep. You know, we drink so much extraordinary whiskey, all three of us really. Yeah. Maybe you more than us. But it's one of those things that you do analyse, and sometimes you can overanalyze it, and really you're looking to pick out certain notes. And with Johnnie Walker, that consistency means that I can relax. I'm not sure I'm all that fun to be around if I'm drinking a new whiskey.
Or so in general.
If I'm out with my fiance and I'm drinking a whiskey, I'm nosing it, I'm smelling it, I'm thinking about it. If I'm out and I'm having a Johnnie Walker as it is, or Johnnie Walker highball, I'm drinking it and I'm enjoying it and I'm not overthinking it.
Yeah, it's the difference between drinking and tasting, I suppose. I know, Charlie, you've said before that single malts are, you know, your job, that's work.
Exactly.
If you're relaxing,
but as you're right, you're immediately in work mode, smelling, analysing, and so on. Whereas a good blend like Black Label, it's just a pleasure.
I totally agree.
I mean, Black Label is such sort of an iconic product. It's something that so many people have tasted. I know when we post this on our channel, we're going to get so many people commenting and sharing their own experiences. But yeah,
shall we pour these?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll let you do the honours with Double Black.
Now, I wonder if there's going to be any difference in colour.
I mean, both of these you'd imagine would have caramel E150 in that for consistency.
Probably,
Well, I pour much more generously than you, Laurie, but I'm not terribly surprised by that. Okay,
so you take one of each.
There we go. I'll swap you that down there.
Keep these the right way around. Cool, so we start with nosing the Black Label. Probably makes sense.
Old friend.
Yeah, it's not as smoky on the nose as I remember.
No, it isn't.
There's a slight nuttiness. It's malty.
Malty.
I feel like that's a good tasting note when a whiskey just smells like whiskey. Just say malty. But it's pleasant, it's inviting, it's not...
A lot of people who are not familiar, and you say, well, what are you smelling? What are you smelling? They say, well, it smells like whiskey. You say, good, that's called product identity.
Yeah, that's a good first step.
You don't want to smell like sherry if it's whiskey. It's not giving much away, and it is slightly more. I'm somewhat disappointed actually.
No, maybe I'll have a new favourite whiskey after this.
It's very slightly mineralic actually towards the back, slightly chalky. Right, now let's look at
so we compare.
Double black.
Let's give Double Black a go.
Again, there's not, oh, well, there's a little bit, but it's a funny sort of smoke.
There's a real sweetness on the nose for double black, which I perhaps wasn't anticipating.
Yeah, I think for, I mean, I don't know if I've ever called it the super smoky version, but it's not.
Yeah, I
still, recently we've had a lot of, obviously, Lafroigs and Ardbegs and stuff. It's not even close to anything.
No, I still think if a really smoky Johnnie Walker, I would still lean towards green label, the blended malt.
Yeah, it's funny. I can smell Kalila. For me, Kalila is smoked ham.
Okay.
Or sometimes smoked cheese, but and there is a sort of slightly smoked, very slight, but it's.
Going back to the black label, I mean, I think the double black smells slightly richer.
Both bottled at 40%, as you might imagine.
Going back to the original, you know, I think, I'm not sure I don't prefer it. Something rather coarse about the double black.
Okay, let's. I'm going to go in for a taste of the black label.
Yep.
We'll see if that smoke comes through a bit more on the palate.
Very light, lightly sweet. Of course, I mean, it's often said that the blended scotches should be mainly in the mouth rather than the nose. James Swan used to talk about the integrated flavour complex, and the ideal blend. Really, you shouldn't be able to discern the components. You know, well, of course, we've just disproved that with the Samaroli, but it's also integrated. It just gives an overall in the mouth. You know. Right, let's try the double black. There's an ashy,
noticeably different.
Ashy note.
Yeah, definitely heavier.
Yeah, it's like tobacco-y sort of ashtray thing going on the end.
They both have a really lovely sweetness on the palate, but double black is darker, it's heavier, it's smokier.
A bit dirtier, isn't it?
It is a bit dirtier, and not a negative way.
Yeah.
And does it have an age statement?
No age statement to the double black.
Well, you see, I wondered. I think it's younger
than the black label.
I think
which I suppose if they want it smokier and more rugged, that makes sense.
I suppose
maybe suits it. Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like the double. I've heard from a few people, you know, obviously black labels, they're sort of staple blended whiskey, and double black's just a bit ropey and not to waste your time on it. But I quite like it.
I think it's an interesting point Charlie makes, because we've tried a lot of Isle of Whiskey, me and you, Laurie, and actually some of the youngest expressions have been the most flavourful, but also it's worked. You know, because the peat's retained, it's not dissipated so much.
That's right. And I would always say if you want the sort of hit in the mouth, then go young. Yeah. Although I mean, the Lagavulin 8-year-old I thought was very poor. Indeed, Lagavulin 16 and even 12.
Yeah. Did you try like the Ardbeg Wee Beastie, the 5-year-old?
Yeah, I thought that was quite coarse as well.
So it's one of those. I think that's had an amazing success. But it's funny.
It's very cheap.
But also a lot of people would never pick it up off the shelf because it says 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
But you know, around 10 years is good for the full-blooded Islers.
Also, if we speak about the price of Johnnie Walker Black Label, it's amazing that it's a 12-year-old. It's really impressive.
Yeah, when you think about single malts, like Talisker Storm and all these non-age statements, they're still 30, 40, 50 quid plus sometimes. So to have a whiskey that's as well rounded and is tasty, which is maybe a simplistic word, and 12 years old. For, was it 20, 25 pounds for Black Label, maybe less?
23 if it's on a deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what's your preference?
I would probably marginally go for a double black.
Okay.
I think, but both are very, very good.
I'm sticking with the
I think this would still be my daily sipper, but also I think this is a really interesting conversation whiskey. Yeah. So I'm truly sitting on the fence.
Yeah, I think trying them side by side is great, because I think if we tried the Black Label, you know, on the Tuesday and then double black on the Wednesday, I could easily almost taste the same. They're both well integrated blends with a bit of smoke, but I think having them back to back, you can sort of pick up the slight nuances between them. But both very, very good, both very affordable, both
fantastic products.
Yeah. A testament to the skill of blending.
Yeah.
So yeah, really good fun, and yeah,
cheers,
glass. Cheers.
The smokiness is coming up in double back.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.